So it's a cover-up, and the prince is involved.
Breaking right now, an extraordinary new revelation in the claims that Prince Harry bullied, harassed, and even covered up a scandal at the Centre Bali charity. Now, this is a truly astonishing story. I'm going to take you through it, and it involves Dr. Sophie Chandoka, who is a very accomplished, successful black businesswoman who fell out with Meghan Markle. I revealed this at the time because Meghan was revolting to her on stage at a Centre Bali charity event. In the past few hours, it has emerged that Prince Harry actually sent Dr. Sophie Chandoka, and this is according to the Daily Telegraph, an unpleasant and imperious message demanding that she issue a statement defending his wife. Now, this is particularly terrible because the note was unpleasant in tone, and he demanded that Dr. Sophie explain herself. A spokesman for Centre Bali has confirmed to the Daily Telegraph that the Duke of Sussex had sent the message saying, "This is true, there is a document." And you've got to admit now that people like me, who have been revealing shocking details about the bullying regularly conducted by both Prince Harry and Meghan Markle personally, but also the biggest gang of internet trolls in modern history, the Sussex Squad, you have to admit now that there are too many occasions of this to believe that it's some sort of conspiracy against the Sussexes. And given the woman in this case, who is being bullied and being discriminated against, is a black woman herself, they can no longer continue to throw the issue of race back in our face. These two try and destroy their enemies. They tried it with me. I've detailed it before. They were responsible for spreading absolute lies about me to try and shut me down, given I had reported the truth about their behavior for many years. Well, I think with Dr. Sophie Chandoka, they have messed with the wrong woman. I'm going to get analysis from Father Calvin Robinson on this story very shortly. But first, Father Calvin, I want to show you the key parts of this astonishing interview, a very brave interview that Dr. Sophie Chandoka conducted with Sky News over the weekend. I don't usually call them Sky News, I usually call them Sky News. But in this case, I have to say Trevor Phillips did a very fair and honest interview with this woman, where she revealed the true depths of how Harry interfered in this bullying investigation, which she has now declared a cover-up.
Isn't the problem here that it was you was the problem, not the prince?
It was me who was the problem because I put a whistleblower complaint about the bullying, the harassment, and the misogyny, and Prince Harry interfered in the investigation of that. And the senior independent director who should have taken care of it was the very same person who then delivered the news to me that I was going to be removed by the board. So it's a cover-up, and the prince is involved.
Wow. I mean, that is sensational television. But I think it's really important to look at where things went wrong. And they went wrong when it came to this polo tournament, which Netflix wanted Harry to film at a Centre Bali event. Watch.
Sophie, let's talk about where things, as you saw it, started to go wrong. One of the incidents was the fundraising, the polo tournament, which is one of the ways in which Centre Bali raised a lot of money. What happened?
We were so fortunate to have the opportunity to do a polo challenge in Miami last year in April. We had a very generous family that was happy for us to use their polo grounds at a material discount. And then about a month before the event was about to take place, Prince Harry called the team and said, "I'm doing a Netflix show, and I would love to bring a camera crew so that I can include some footage in this show." And so the team called me and tell me, "Oh, Prince Harry's made this request, so we're doing the things." I said, You can't be doing the things without seeking consent from the property owners, the sponsors, all the guests. Nobody signed up into being on a Netflix show. And so we have this discussion about the need to talk to everybody. We come up with draft agreements. And of course, the venue owner says, this is now a commercial undertaking. So here are my terms. We couldn't afford it. So now we lost the venue. So we went to another venue. And we were lucky enough that through Prince Harry's connections, actually, and a friend of his, there was another family that was prepared to host. The show went on, but there was a lot of disruption, right? A lot of people were unhappy because we'd worked on this for months.
So that's evidence of Harry putting his Netflix commitments ahead of his commitments to the African charity that he claims to have set up in his mother's name. But then things turned really toxic when Meghan Markle got involved, and you won't be surprised to learn her fingerprints are all over this row, as I've been reporting since last year. Watch.
At the actual, on the actual day, we had Prince Harry, which is always wonderful. The Duchess decided to attend, but she told us she wasn't attending. And she brought a friend, a very famous friend.
Serena Williams.
So you can imagine all of the activity that goes with these additional amazing people. We're excited about it. We would have been really excited had we known ahead of time, but we didn't. And so the choreography went badly on stage because we had too many people on stage. The international press captured this, and there was a lot of talk about the Duchess and the choreography on stage and whether she should have been there and her treatment of me. Prince Harry asked me to issue some sort of a statement in support of the Duchess, and I said I wouldn't. Not because I didn't care about the Duchess, but because I knew what would happen if I did so, number one. And number two, because we cannot be an extension of the Sussex
What would have
PR
happened
machine.
if you had simply just said, there's nothing wrong with what's happened, what the Duchess did?
Well, the Duchess has told Dr. Sophie Chandauka to make a press release about her, and then she'll get even worse trolling. That's what would have happened.
Of course. And I do just want to remind you of what happened on stage, where Meghan made it clear that she was very jealous, as I reported at the time, of Dr. Sophie.
Thank you very much to Tonga for putting on such a great day here at Crown Champions Polo Club. Again, a big thank you to all those who provided horses.
Now, why should Dr. Sophie have been forced to defend that utterly appalling behaviour from Meghan Markle? But when she didn't, and stick with me here because it's all making sense, when she didn't, Harry, no doubt, under pressure from Meghan Markle, sends her an abusive email. Who gives a damn about all of the charity work that's been done? Who gives a damn about what Centre Bali is actually there to do? And then when Dr. Sophie didn't play ball and refused to quit, what happens? The Sussex squad are unleashed. Watch.
Is guilty of harassment and bullying and improper conduct in the governance of a charity.
Well, let me put it to you this way. I'm going to give you a really good example. The only reason I'm here, Trevor, is because at some point on Tuesday, Prince Harry authorized the release of a damaging piece of news to the outside world.
Shameful.
Without informing me, or my country directors, or my executive director. And can you imagine what that attack has done for me,
I can.
on me, and the 540 individuals in the Centre Bali organizations and their family? That is an example of harassment and bullying at scale. And so if the world didn't want to believe that there's such a thing as bullying, this unleashing of the Sussex machine on me and the 540 employees at Centre Bali who received this and have had to defend it.
By the way, when you say the Sussex machine, what are you talking about?
The PR machine that supports Prince Harry's efforts. The only way we discovered of his decision was through the Sussex machine activating newspapers.
You were not told that he and the Princesa planned to resign?
we were informed that they have the intention to withdraw if I went to the High Court and succeeded.
All right.
Amen, sister. Harassment and bullying at scale. That is what Prince Harry and Meghan do. And it's not only Dr. Sophie, it's not only me who've had to experience this. It's, for example, Catherine, the Princess of Wales, when she was undergoing secret cancer treatment. Now, why
When you
does
came back
Harry
as
not
chair-
like Dr. Sophie? Well, it's because she challenged Prince Harry over his situation. Watch.
When you came back as chair in 2023, what did you think was going wrong?
Now, I'm going to answer this very frankly, but I just want to say normally I wouldn't want to discuss family business in this way in an open forum. But here we are, and I'll do my best to be frank in my disclosure. So when I arrived in July in 2023, of course, the first thing you do is you open the annual report, you look at the board minutes to see what it is that's going on in the organization. When you look at the I did a 7-year historical review of the financials, looking at our costs and looking at our revenues, so income. It was pretty obvious to me that we had lost quite a number of corporate sponsors, we'd lost some families, and we'd lost individuals who were donating to the organization. And there was quite a significant correlation between the time the organization started to see a departure of sort of major organizations and Prince Harry's departure from the UK itself. When you look at the board minutes, though, there is no discussion about what's happening with respect to some of our most significant funders. And then when you discuss with the senior executive team and ask why there isn't a conversation about this, the answer is it's really difficult to have this conversation because the instruction was it's an uncomfortable conversation to have with Prince Harry in the room.
So the central point here is when you look at the risk register of the charity and funding, number one risk is that's Duke of Sussex.
Yes.
Is that your opinion, or?
It is.
He was destroying his own charity because of the way he destroyed his family, and donors were walking. Watch.
To be absolutely clear here, you're saying, Sophie, number one, that what you discovered was essentially donors were walking because of the prince's reputation.
Yes.
Father Calvin Robinson, the reason I wanted to watch so much of that interview with Dr. Sophie Chandoka is because this is a very accomplished woman, very successful business-wise, probably not someone I agree with politically, probably not someone you agree with politically, but I believe that Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have finally messed with the wrong person because she is not going to put up with their bullying and harassment at scale. And the most critical thing is, Father Calvin, she has the receipts and she is prepared to produce them. But first, we ingest a credit card's worth of microplastics every week. Tiny particles, how disturbing is this? In our food, our water, our air. They don't just pass through, they build up in our organs, disrupt hormones, and are linked to fertility issues, neurological disorders, and heart disease. In early 2024, human brain samples contained 0.5% plastic by weight, with higher levels tied to Alzheimer's and neurodegenerative diseases. Microplastics have also been found in semen and placentas, correlating with lower sperm quality, fetal exposure, and declining fertility. BPA and phthalates mimic or disrupt hormones like estrogen and testosterone, leading to reduced sperm counts, irregular cycles, and development issues in children. With microplastics in bottled water, food, and even household dust, avoiding exposure is impossible, but you can support your body's ability to fight back. Moringa activates the NRFT pathway, your body's detox switch, helping flush out microplastic-associated toxins like BPA, BPS, and phthalates. This pathway boosts detox enzymes, making harmful chemicals water-soluble for easy excretion. Now, not all moringa is created equal, though. Many supplements use lower quality sources, root, bark, contaminated powders, that type of thing, lacking the full spectrum of benefits. Plus, moringa naturally tastes bitter and, to be honest, pretty gross. So that's what led me to Morning Bean by Verso, a rich, chocolatey coffee alternative packed with moringa, cocoa, polyphenols, and electrolytes to help detox, fuel energy, performance, focus, and longevity. Now, this is my Morning Bean here. I've saved some for the afternoon today because I just wanted to try it and show you how good it tastes. Genuinely like a McDonald's hot chocolate. I'm not even joking. I don't know how they mask the bitter notes of moringa, but actually I don't care because it's just so good. Plus, Verso only uses pure moringa leaf, the most nutrient-dense part of the plant, and conducts third-party testing on every batch to ensure potency, purity, and safety. You can't avoid microplastics, but you can support your body's detox process. Start your day with Morning Bean for research-backed detox, energy, and health. Click the link below or visit buy.ver.so using the code OUTSPOKEN for 15% off. That's buy.ver.so using the code OUTSPOKEN for 15% off. But now, back to the show.
Firstly, I love her composure. She's very reverential toward the Duchess and the Duke, even after how they've treated her, which I think shows a certain ability and integrity in herself. To hear all these stories is unsurprising but very disappointing. The fact that they constantly disrupt the charity work for their own personal PR campaign, such as Prince Harry saying, well, we're now bringing Netflix along, and that changing it to a corporate event and losing the venue and disrupting the actual event on the day. Or whether it's Meghan Markle and Serena Williams turning up as if it's a jolly, and again, disrupting the charity event. Or Prince Harry, from the way he's treating his family, being disrespectful towards his country and the institution of the royal family, losing donors, which a charity cannot function without, and therefore breaking down the charity work essentially, and still they're not able to have the conversation because he's too precious. And so what's the point of the board if the board aren't willing to challenge the biggest risk to the charity, who seems to be Prince Harry, and to be fair, by the sounds of it, his wife, Meghan Markle? All of it is a grave, grave mess. And the way they've treated Dr. Sophie, by, as she put it, using the Sussex machine against her, is awful. It's, death by press release. I can empathize with her a lot on this. I just received a newspaper yesterday where I'm on the front cover of it yet again with an article by my former archbishop. It's like this is a certain mentality of cowardice that want to attack people and smear them and discredit them in the public because they're too small to have a conversation with them in person. Now, it seems like that's what's happening to Dr. Sophie, and that if they'd have just had a conversation with her and said, well, look, this is why we want to do what we're doing, she would have been able to say, no, this is why it's not a good idea for you to bring your wife and her celebrity friend to this event unless you tell us about it in advance. Or this is why it's not a good idea for me to write a press release supporting you, when clearly it's not about you. It's about the charity work, for goodness sake. So I actually, fully back Dr. Sophie in all of the things that she's just shared in her testimony just there. I think it's very powerful for her to share that. It makes her very vulnerable. But we can finally see the truth. And as you alluded to in your opening statement, that they often weaponize Meghan's race as a tool to shut down any opposing views. And they can't do that because Dr. Sophie is actually black, unlike Meghan Markle. And so what are they going to do?
Indeed. And Father Calvin as well, Dr. Sophie cares about this charity. And that matters, right? Because Centre Ballet was set up specifically to help with some of the most deprived young people in the world, in Lesotho and Botswana, two of the most deprived countries in the world. That matters. Harry is walking away because of his ego. He's not a humanitarian. He doesn't give a damn. He gives a damn about himself and making money and about the ego of his out-of-control wife. And there's an example that Dr. Sophie spoke about, by the way, Calvin, of how discussions worked at a board level where Harry was almost treated as if he was some type of dictator. And remember, this matches up with the reporting from the Hollywood Reporter, who actually quoted former staff members describing Meghan Markle as a dictator duchess in high heels. Watch this.
Prince Harry decides on a specific occasion that he wants to appoint an individual to the board with immediate effect without having talked to me. It's not on the agenda. And somehow everybody's just supposed to tolerate that.
The he being here, Prince Harry.
Yes, Prince.
So Prince Harry comes into the meeting and says, I want to appoint somebody as CEO.
As a board member, as a trustee with immediate effect. His proxy on the board says, yes, I second that motion. The third proxy on the board says, welcome to the board, Brian. And everybody's shocked and quiet. But this is what happens when the prince is in the room and no one has the courage to speak.
And Father Calvin, this really does remind me of just how much work was done behind the scenes by the so-called men in grey suits who Prince Harry and Meghan Markle turned on, but actually they were there to protect Prince Harry from himself. He is a hot-headed, very nasty individual, not a smart guy, but one of these privileged men who has only ever got his own way, and they protected him from himself. And out there in the big bad world, unfortunately, the real Prince Harry has been exposed.
And that's going to continue to happen because they seem to have, they're control freaks. They seem to have this mission to protect their image at all costs, and that's what's most important to them, even over fame and fortune, it seems. And you can't live that way, so it's going to keep breaking down as they keep sending nasty emails to people like Dr. Sophie saying, you must defend the honor of my wife. They're going to continue to get leaked because you can't keep doing that. And so hopefully people continue to keep receipts. But this is why the royal family have always been patrons rather than board members of charities, because having a royal in the room does, of course, it affects the dynamic of the room, regardless of whether it's Prince Harry or anyone else. So when they're in honorary positions like a patron, they don't get a say in how things operate. They just turn up, and that helps boost support, helps boost fundraising, therefore helps boost the charitable works. But when they're in the boardroom like Prince Harry and dictating who's on the board or what they do, what the agenda is, or just disregarding the agenda and setting their own agenda, that's dangerous for the charity, for everyone involved, because they're all liable to whatever happens in that boardroom. And so when he steps in with his privilege and acts as a dictator, whether he means to or not, he's bringing the charity into disrepute.
And the hilarious thing is, Father Calvin, that Harry has claimed that he doesn't want to make his own money anymore. He's going to let Meghan be the main breadwinner, and he's going to be a full-time philanthropist. Well, hardly, because you are now toxic to charities, because charities do not want to be involved with such a nasty brand, with a brand, the Sussex brand, that decided to trample over the late Queen Elizabeth II in her dying days. And it's interesting to see the support, Father Calvin, that Dr. Sophie is getting online. Watch this.
This is mad. About 12 years ago, I did some work with Dr. Sophie, Chandauka. I hope I pronounced your name right, girl. And let me tell you, this woman is lovely. You would not know that she was so senior with how personable she was. She had time for everyone. Really, I've got not a bad word to say against her. And I'll say to her, I'll say to Harry, I'll say to anyone, because people are mentioning Meghan, anyone, stop the beef. It's not worth it to be beefing so publicly like this. When you do this, everyone loses. You're not rappers. Your brand doesn't increase because you want a rap battle, because you're beefing. Everyone loses a little bit. Yeah? So I'll say, y'all need to have a mediator, someone who can show you some love, who can say, you know what, let's work this out behind closed doors. Because they're going after her, her family, their employees, they're going after their family as well. The harassment is insane. So stop the beef. Let's hug it out. Do you get me?
But they won't, Father Calvin, because trust me, I went through this. They only want to destroy their enemies. That is how they operate. That's why I'm so glad this is being called out.
It's vicious, it's nasty, it needs to come to an end. It will come to an end. The more they bully people, the more people find the courage to speak out. And how many reports of bullying have we had from that family so far?
Constant. Constant.
Yeah.
And of course, the Buckingham Palace report remains covered up because actually the royal family were trying to protect Harry and Meghan. Then there are the bullying accusations now out of Archewell in Los Angeles. It's constant. The thing that I found hilarious is that the Mail and GB News seem to be more concerned not about Dr. Sophie Chandoka's mental health, Father Calvin, but about Prince Harry's mental health.
Oh, really?
Watch.
I think it's going to really, really upset Harry, especially because they've been having a professional separation, Meghan and Harry. So she's been, as you say, doing all her cookery shows and her influencing. And he's very much hoping to carve himself out as a philanthropist full-time. And that was his plan for 2025. And absolutely, it's been completely destroyed by this. And there are some reports that people are actually worried about his mental health because it's so part of who he is. It's the original thing that gave him purpose years ago. And it reminds him of his mother. You know, of course, it was set up in honour of her. Yes. And I just wonder what he's going to do without this charity or without really any charity. Obviously, he's got Invictus, but his philanthropic efforts have sort of stalled very early.
I mean, I'm sorry, Father Calvin, I don't care. He chose this. I mean, when your wife has caused you to lose everything, right? Your friends, your family, your country, your credibility, your reputation, your popularity. At some point, surely we've got to think, this is down to him. If he is that whipped, even now, to allow Meghan to destroy the charity in which he set up in his mother's name, then I'm sorry, zero sympathy from me. Genuinely. He was warned time and again.
Yeah, he chose this, but not only did he choose this, he continues to choose this, and that's the problem. And as you're right, the charity that he founded in his mother's name is being destroyed. It's not just Meghan doing it; he's doing it too. So he's becoming as bad as her. I don't understand this professional separation, as they call it. It seems very weird to me to send her out to be the breadwinner, so he could just swan around, going to nice events and smiling and playing royal. They're not working royals. It seems like that's what he wants to be again, but he'll never be that unless he returns to the fold. And I can't see him having the humility to do that and apologise for all the harm he's caused the royal family and the country.
No, very well put, Father Calvin Robinson. Very, very well put. This is a shocking situation. Much more to come. And all I'm going to say is you've got my support, Dr. Sophie Chandoka. I don't even care if we disagree on everything politically because you have called out nasty, evil bullying on a grand scale, and for that you deserve huge credit. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.